Today in our lineup here on The Now, we're talking about Netflix's decision to pull a scene from a popular show that deals with teen suicide. Why now? And more importantly, the conversations that we should be having about this topic. Popular brands are starting to take notice of the big role that dads play in families, and we're going to take a look at how their image is changing and the hurdles they're still facing. And these puppies right here, they're training to be service dogs for veterans, but even before they take on that very important job, we're seeing how they're already finding a way to help.
Thanks, Chris. You're watching The Now Indy on RTV6. I'm Mark Mullins, and right now the Shark Tank Open casting call is wrapping up at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Hundreds of ideas swam through the minds of the Shark Tank producers, but which ones will make the cut? Our Aaron Lish follows one entrepreneur as he journeys into shark-infested waters.
More than 300 people came here to IMS in hopes to get their products or services in front of the sharks of Shark Tank. And just like the Indy 500, we followed one Hoosier from start to finish.
This is a fantastic opportunity for this casting call in Indianapolis.
David Van Wy was out before the crack of dawn, ready to show off Amazing Hazel's chili and Bloody Mary mix.
Really looking forward to maybe making the next step. That's what it's all about.
Once 6 a.m. hit, he made his way to the track, joining those standing in line and getting his pitch band.
I got it. Number 36.
In the IT business for years, he wanted to be an entrepreneur and share his grandmother Hazel's recipe.
There's no reason to wonder what if or why didn't I.
And this is your dream.
This is it.
With his products in hand, it's his turn.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Great. How are you? I'm Dave. Nice to meet you.
Giving his 1-minute pitch to the Shark Tank producers.
I do whatever it takes to get the product in front of customers.
Okay.
And once people try it, like you, people love it.
With the spirit of his family with him.
Yeah.
So I named the business company after my grandmother. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's all I need for today.
All right. I appreciate your time.
He walks away feeling confident in himself and Amazing Hazel's.
It feels exhilarating. You know, there's just no other way to say it. I mean, if you have an opportunity to do something like this, go for it.
If he gets a call back, he has to stay tight-lipped. So we'll just have to wait and see if he makes it into the waters and makes things flavorful in the Shark Tank. Aaron Lish, RTV6.
And coming up on RTV6 News at 6, more live coverage from Indianapolis Motor Speedway of the Shark Tank casting call. We'll share incredible stories and a behind-the-scenes look at how the entire process works to eventually get on the Shark Tank show that you see right here on RTV6. Kyle.
And thankfully, all that was indoors because we've got some bands of rain and some downpours that are moving through here on Storm Team 6 radar. You can see a few of those bands, so you may get a downpour, then a break before some more rain moves through here. One of the steadier bands moving through central Indiana right now, getting some light rain in downtown, and that does extend up into the Kokomo area. A little bit of lightning flash detected there. You can see that rain continuing to move off toward the north and east. We'll move into Fortville here as we get a little closer to 6 o'clock. About the same for you in the New Pal area, and there's some of the heavier rain in northern parts of Clay County and around Sullivan. So as we go through this evening, we'll continue with some of these downpours even into the early overnight as the remnants of Barry continue to move on through. But you can see as far as additional rainfall, some areas get under a couple of those downpours, could get another couple of inches of rainfall. This will move out. Some heat will move in. We'll talk more about that in a few minutes.
A big announcement from the Justice Department today that federal charges will not be filed against a New York City police officer involved in the death of Eric Garner. Video of the officer taking Garner down went viral. It led to protests across the country. Investigators say they couldn't prove the officer violated Garner's civil rights. Garner's family says they will continue to fight.
The statute of limitation ends tomorrow. Eric died 7/17/14. We're 7/16/19. 5 years later, and there's still no justice.
The officer could still face other discipline, including losing his job. Neil Armstrong's spacesuit is back on display at the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum today, 50 years after the Apollo 11 launch. It needed to be restored and was out of view for the last 13 years. Now, this was a challenging project because museum conservators had to make sure the small specks of moon dust ingrained into the outer layers of fabric on that suit stayed intact. Now, also today, Apollo 11 astronaut Michael Collins returned to the launch pad at the Kennedy Space Center, where he, Armstrong, and Buzz Aldrin left to fly to the moon. He says that he thinks the next step for space travel should be going to Mars, but says he does see a benefit in returning to the moon.
And Neil Armstrong, who I consider to be a lot better engineer than I, thought that there were gaps in our knowledge and that we could fill those chinks by a return to the moon.
Collins says it was a wonderful feeling to be back at the launch pad, but he does wish that Armstrong and Aldrin could have shared that moment with him. Armstrong passed away in 2012. Aldrin did not come to today's event. Now, the rocket launch you just saw there happened today at 9:23 in the morning, which is the same time as the Apollo 11 launch. The U.S. Space and Rocket Center in Huntsville, Alabama, set off 5,000 model rockets. They're going for a Guinness World Record attempt of the number of rockets launched at the same time. Facebook thinks it can have its digital currency, and some lawmakers don't agree. Facebook faced questions on Capitol Hill today during a hearing, and Ohio Senator Sherrod Brown says that the social network is, quote, delusional to think people will trust it with their money. All right, let's get back to our lineup. And the popular series 13 Reasons Why has faced a lot of controversy, and now Netflix is making a big change. How it's impacting the conversations surrounding teen suicide.
Dealer stock. Come in for great deals now.
Welcome back to the Now Indy on RTV6. What is an electric scooter? Is it more like a car you drive on the street or a bicycle you ride on trails? Well, in this instance, definitions matter. Last night, the Indianapolis City County Council approved a proposal that defines an electric scooter. The city had previously classified the scooters as motor vehicles, but a new state law rejected that definition and made communities pass individual ordinances on the scooters. So Indianapolis has decided to give scooters their own category, separate from cars and bicycles, but not much has changed. You still face the same rules with scooters as before, and you could still receive a $25 ticket for riding a scooter on a sidewalk or trail in Indy.
13 Reasons Why is a popular Netflix show, but it's also very controversial. The first season of the teenage drama showed a graphic scene of the main character taking her own life. Now, 2 years later, as season 3 is coming out, Netflix is editing that scene out. The show's creator says in part the intent was to tell the truth about the horror of such an act and make sure that no one would ever wish to emulate it. But after hearing concerns from the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention and others, they have agreed with Netflix to re-edit it, saying no one scene is more important than the life of the show and its message that we must take better care of each other. Now, a warning was added to the show last year when the second season was released. Netflix included an online toolkit, 13reasonswhy.info, has resources on suicide prevention and other topics like bullying and drug abuse. We talked to the executive director for Suicide Awareness Voices of Education, and he consulted with Netflix throughout the series and on that toolkit.
They've really taken the opportunity here to say, as we know that people will binge watch this before Series 3 launches, they've taken a step to say, look, let's exclude that. Let's not have that visual out there any longer and really try to prevent harm to other kids.
Researchers in 2 different studies looked at youth suicides after this show was released, and they found that there was an increase in deaths. However, experts say suicide is complex and often caused by a range of factors, not one single event. There are countless more suicide survivors and people who think about it but get the help they need by talking with friends, family, with faith leaders, medical professionals. I do want you to take a look at your screen right here. Take a picture of it if you have your phone there, because these are the numbers to remember to help people who may be struggling. You see the crisis text line, 741-741, and the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, 1-800-273-8255, and that's open 24/7 to help anybody who needs it. All right, ahead in our lineup, there are some things that you may not think about that are important when it comes to keeping your car running well in the summer. We're going to take you into the shop with a mechanic so you know what to look for.
Only on RTV6 News.
Let's start the Now News feed with a nationwide recall of eye drops. The eye drops and ointments sold at CVS are being recalled because they may not be sterile. The FDA is listing 30 products being recalled as a precaution. New York City can ban ads inside Ubers and Lyfts. A federal appeals court ruled that the ads are not a company's free speech. New York banned the ads because there were some riders that found them annoying. Well, at least you can give this alleged drug smuggler some Creativity points maybe. Take a look at this. Authorities say a Colombian man tried to smuggle cocaine under his wig. Problem is, when he got off his flight in Barcelona, well, the wig was obviously a little bit higher up than one usually is. Authorities found more than $33,000 in cocaine right on top of his head. Regular maintenance is key to getting your car to last longer. I mean, you know about the need to winterize your vehicle, but it's important to make changes in the summer too, and Annie Taylor's showing us what we need to do to keep our cars running in the heat.
Summer's high temperatures can take a toll on everyone, but it can really affect your car.
One of the most important things getting into the summer months is the engine cooling system. That's about the biggest failure that you're going to see that's going to lead to a breakdown. And
Brad Dean with Import Mechanics has a few tips on keeping your car running smoothly. First things first.
Starting with making sure that the fluid level is correct.
We're talking about things like your coolant and oil. Now, we all know a proper oil change is key, but in the summer months and hot temps, your oil thins out quickly, leading to serious engine problems.
Next things are belts and hoses. And what you're looking for there are cracks in belts, cracks in hoses, and as well as swelling in the hoses,
which are basically essential to your cooling system. So if you want your air conditioning to run, get those checked. When it comes to your battery, there's a misconception, Brad says, that wintertime is the only season it can be destroyed.
The high temperatures in the summer can actually lead to the acid in the battery evaporating faster, which then all of a sudden you can find yourself with a battery that's not charged.
Lastly, when it comes to tires, you know they can lose pressure in the winter. That can also happen in the summer because of the hot asphalt.
Tires are a safety issue any season. In the summer, making sure that the pressures are correct is paramount.
Remember, despite regular maintenance on your car, getting your car fully serviced every 12,000 miles is always a good idea. I'm Annie Taylor reporting.
All right, Andy, thank you. And it is the summertime. The heat is taking over, but a new study says the temperatures that we're seeing now may be nothing compared to the future. The Union of Concerned Scientists put out a report saying by the year 2050, cities across the country could see a full month where the heat index exceeds 100 degrees. Now, on top of that, researchers expect the number of days that we see a heat index above 100 degrees will double.
And not too distant future here, we're going to have some heat index values getting around 100 degrees. We're going to talk about that, but keeping us on the cooler side right now is that we've got some rain that's moving through central Indiana. Temperature 74 degrees in Indianapolis. It's 77 for you in Bloomington, and Greenwood at 73 degrees. Here's a look at that rain that's moving through, and this is all associated with what's left of Barry here that moved onto the Louisiana coast over the weekend. Now that center of circulation is just to the southwest of Champaign. It's going to be sliding across Indiana here the next couple of hours and continues to bring some bands of rain along with it. You can see one band that's moving out of Muncie, some light to moderate rain on the east side of Indianapolis, and that stretches up through the Kokomo area. Some of the heaviest rain right now just northeast of Sullivan. That's going to continue to lift toward Brazil. You can see a little closer vantage point here, especially downtown and on the east side and around Beech Grove into Greenwood. Some moderate rainfall for you, and then Bloomfield into southern portions of Vigo County getting some stronger storms, but nothing severe out there for us. We'll continue with some downpours into this evening. Overnight, some scattered rain showers, but the intensity should decrease here a little bit. And by tomorrow morning, a few lingering showers here over the eastern portion of the state, but we will dry out pretty quickly here. And those temperatures making their way back into the middle 80s to around 90 degrees for that afternoon high. So much of tomorrow is going to be dry. It's still going to be humid. So we're going to have these temperatures in the upper 80s, but heat index values, which will be into the middle 90s. And then the real hot stuff here comes in for Thursday, Friday, and into the upcoming weekend. This is a look at the heat index, the peak as we go into the afternoon. We're talking about 105 to 106 for what it's going to feel like. The actual temperatures over the next several days, yeah, they're getting back into the 90s after 89 tomorrow afternoon, 94 on Thursday, a dry stretch of weather as well, 95 Friday and Saturday with mostly sunny skies, and we're going to keep those triple-digit heat index values going right into Sunday. Chris?
Oh, who doesn't love a story about puppies? Today, we want to introduce you to future service dogs that will one day be paired with veterans. But as Chris Welch shows us, even before they're fully trained, these dogs are already having a huge impact.
Good. Touch.
This is Toro.
He's worked on down and sit, and we don't know if he's really got it until he can distinguish.
And yep, Toro just tried to eat our microphone. In fairness, he is only 5 months old.
Toro, Toro, you need to calm down.
But Toro will one day work as a service dog for veterans. However, even as puppies, these Labradors are finding a way to help.
These two nurses wanted to get involved, and so I said, well, this would be a great environment for them because not only can the dogs help veterans later, but they can help you with your patients now.
This little guy now lives and goes to work with Maggie Homer, one of a handful of nurses at Toro Infirmary Hospital in New Orleans who will care for the dogs until they're adults.
I'm a speech therapist, yeah. So it's been really easy for me to incorporate him into my sessions because he'll, the patients naturally just talk to him.
Patients like Crystal LeBlanc, who told us she had no desire to come to physical therapy until...
You heard the dog was here. Did your mood change?
Yes. I enjoyed this day much better than the last one.
Just having the dogs here makes people excited about coming to physical therapy.
Cody Bellinger with U.S. Veterans Service Dogs says raising their puppies in the hospital environment preps them for the serious work they'll one day do.
What happens when a veteran has an episode with PTSD and has to go in a hospital? The dogs need to be able to be comfortable in that environment, and these dogs live in this environment every day.
When you're in a hospital, it can be very depressing. Even if you're in a spot like this where it's light and there's pretty pictures on the wall, you're still not home, you know? Oh, leave it. And having just something unexpected, something joyful like a puppy around has changed so much.
So it's helping the staff, it's helping the patients, and the end result's helping a veteran. So it's kind of a win-win.
Reporting in New Orleans, I'm Chris Welch.
Great stuff, Chris. Thank you. And hotels are amping up their features, specifically trying to show you how great their fitness rooms are. Many no longer just a place where there's a treadmill, a couple free weights lying around. Hotels are starting to use interactive monitors to hold workout classes, essentially workout apps on big screens like the Mirror Gym system. It coaches you on how to exercise and allows you to work out with others. Then there's hotels like Hilton who are bringing workout classes to guest rooms. Hilton's providing TVs with workout classes, yoga mats, and other workout gear. But let's face it, cool, trendy workout classes are likely to make the hotel cost a little bit more. So how do you get a more affordable hotel with still a great workout? Well, Franklin and Toyin of iBody Fit says look outside the hotel.
Even if there's a treadmill and it's good weather, just skip the treadmill or the elliptical and just go outside. There's plenty of things you can do if you can. Hiking, swimming, kayaking, surfing, anything like that. It's active. It's just as good as almost just as good as a cardio run, a run for your cardio. Plus, it's kind of fun, and you get to see the new area.
Now, if you still want to use some equipment, take a look at these resistance bands. There's something really easy to throw in your bag. Plus, there are a lot of different exercises that you can do with them. And even if you don't have a ton of time on your hands while you're on vacation, anything's better than nothing. 10 to 15 minutes of exercise is still beneficial. Well, next in our lineup, Huggies is adding dads to its diaper boxes for the first time. Now, it's just the latest big name brand giving dads more attention, but even with this new image, we're still taking a look at some of the hurdles they're still facing.